In 2023, Glitch and Gooseworks released one of the biggest shows of all time, The Amazing Digital Circus. Glitch and Gooseworks didn't think it would do that great with popularity, but they were wrong. This show has been held by fans as one of the best Glitch production shows of all time, and one of the best storylines I think they ever seen. Now, is that really the case? Well, I actually watched The Amazing Digital Circus, all episodes by the way, and I have to say, this is a pretty good show. It has some really great characters, some great storylines, some great arcs. I know from the poster and some of the panic attack scenes, this show might not make a lot of sense to some people. But honestly, if you take the time and go over every single character, how they got here, and what they did to be here, this becomes a dark Glitch production show. Okay, don't get me wrong, this show does have its funny moments, but honestly, this is like the darkest Glitch production show because it talks about purpose, where you're meant to be, and the friends you meet along the way, and how you gotta lose some on the way. It also talks about going crazy. Yeah, I'm not kidding. This is in a show. So, to celebrate the final episode of The Amazing Digital Circus and celebrate its impact on animation as a whole and adult animation, I thought it'd be a great idea to go over every single episode and give the perspectives of every character and just give my personal opinions on the episodes overall. So join me on this epic adventure where I have to rank every single Amazing Digital Circus episode ever made. Oh yes, the first ever Amazing Digital Circus episode to ever exist. I gotta say, watching this was really surprising to me. At first, when I first watched it at first time, I didn't really care for it that much. I thought it was okay. Too many panic attack scenes and too many crazy moments. But after watching it again, I honestly gotta say, this is a pretty good episode and a good pilot to start off the series. Honestly, it's a pretty good episode, some funny characters, even though Jax from the beginning wasn't really that likable, and he was kind of mean for no apparent reason. But look, trust, this guy will get better, I promise. On to the plot. Anyway, this show begins with a opening sequence and intro sequence to The Amazing Digital Circus. And it introduces the characters Ragatha, Kang, and Kinger, and Jax, and for some reason, a clown named Cosmo, which he didn't make it today. Or that's what we think today. And then Pomni shows up. Basically how Pomni got here, she put on a headset and she can't take it off. And people are acting normal about this in the Amazing Digital Circus. Ragatha's acting normal about this. Kang is acting normal about this. Kinger's acting normal about this. Like every single one of them is acting normal except for Pomni. She's actually going insane in this episode. And then Pomni doesn't know her name yet. She doesn't know what her name is. And then Kane decides to give her a name. Apparently, Kane is like this sweet guy who's actually kind of insane. And actually probably the funniest part about this whole episode. Jax is this unlikable guy who's kind of a jerk for some reason. Ragatha is the most supporting one. Kinger is the supporting one. Gangle is the anxious one who's kind of scared all the time. And then Zubul is kind of the I don't care type of person, you know what I mean? I gotta say, these characters are pretty likable, except for Jax in the first episode. Pomni tries to get out of here and trying to find a way out of here. She finds an exit door, but she doesn't really go anywhere from that, and she ends up in the void. And then she goes back. This episode is explaining how Pomni has panic attacks and issues in this episode. Kane actually saves Pomni, which W Kane, by the way. And while this is all happening, Cosmo is a mindless glitch monster, like an ink monster. And the others try to stop him, and they do eventually. And then at the end of the episode, Pomni just decides to stay for the circus for a while until she can find a way out of here. Overall, I actually like episode 1. It explores all the characters so good. The characters are all great and likable, except for Jax, which I'll get on him for a little bit. Kane is actually a likable hosting for this show. I actually like him a lot. The animation's pretty good, and I actually love the panic attack scenes with Pomni. They're pretty relatable, honestly. And I love the explaining how Pomni got here. She put on a headset and she's pretty much here, and I like that. I know some people didn't really like Jax in the first episode. They thought he was not very likable and he just was an overall big jerk. But honestly, I didn't mind him that much. He was terrible in this one. He did act terrible. But he does get a little better in episode 2, so yeah. All the characters are very likable, the animation's good, and that's pretty much all I gotta say about this, honestly. It's pretty good, and I like it a lot. So overall, episode 1 is a great pilot and introduces everything so well, and I love it for that. Episode 2 is pretty good. I like it. It expands the world. It's cool. It expands the characters. It shows that Pomni is honestly a sweet person, just going a little insane at times. Like, her empathy around other NPCs is pretty cool. I like her for that. I will admit, it did feel a little fast-paced, but I think that's just me. Anyway, Pomni is waking up today, and they can't even sleep. That's a question I need to know. They can't sleep at all, which is pretty sad, but honestly, I don't care. So, Kane decides to put Pomni on her first adventure, and they put her in this candy world, and the kingdom is run by Princess Candy, which, honestly, she's pretty cool, I guess. So the gang go do a heist of some kind, where they have to jump across another truck, which is pretty cool. And we get introduced to Gumo Goo. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. He's a pretty cool guy. He has great character development, and I just like this guy. And the main goal, I feel like, is just to steal a truck in this episode. I can't remember, honestly. But overall, episode 2 is a really good episode, in my opinion. It's not amazing good, but it's generally a good episode, and that says something. Jax was a little better in this one. He was not as annoying as he was in the first episode, but hey, that's okay. I heard some people actually like this guy in episode 1, 2, 3, and just all the episodes in general. While some people have a dying hatred for him, like somebody I know on TikTok.
Why, he's crazy. Oh. Okay, this guy, I kind of want him to die.
Whatever you say, kid.
This nonchalant bitch.
Oh no, they killed Zubul.
Shut the fuck up! He looks like a...
Yeah, that guy. He has a burning hatred for Jax, I'll admit that. But overall, episode 2 is pretty good. I actually like it a lot. The characters are getting more deeper. Animation's still pretty good. And let's just say the fandom is just getting more bigger with kids joining the fandom. I'm not even joking. Kids are in that fandom. Like, they complain over the stupidest stuff. But I'll get on that later. I'll also talk about YouTube labeling one of the episodes for kids. That situation was kind of terrible, honestly. I'll talk about that later as well. But overall, still a pretty good episode. Generally, like, the best episode so far from this series so far. It is such a perfect episode. It handles horror super well, has great humor, and overall, just a really emotional story in this episode. Like, Pomni and Kinger's whole relationship and duo was generally so perfect. Basically, the plot is that Kang sends Pomni, Kinger, and some people to go to this haunted mansion, and it's overall a good time, honestly. I love this episode. And while the rest of them just have coffee, like Jax, Rathkatha, and Gangle have coffee and tea with Mr. Walton. I don't know his name. I mean, I know his name, but it's like so hard to say. I'm not even joking. This is actually the best episode so far. It's emotional, has great moments, and overall just funny humor, honestly. Like, Pomni getting scared was probably the best part, honestly. And her eyes falling out was probably the best part, honestly. Like, the story was good. The characters are likable. Jax didn't get really enough screen time in this episode, but that's okay for some people. And honestly, I just like this episode. It's pretty cool, and I overall had a good time watching this episode. So this is definitely the best episode so far. The animation's still pretty good, and what you will notice about... Wasn't your turn to talk, Cooper. I'm so sorry. It's just my dog just wants to keep going in and out. He doesn't know what to do! But anyway, the one thing you will notice about Glitch Productions is they have a consistency with animation. They love to experiment with animation like 3D and 2D, and sometimes 3D, but mostly 3D. And it's pretty good every single time. Like it's created. The creator of Glitch Productions is literally SMG4, like himself. Like, I'm not even joking. Which, rest in peace to his channel, by the way. He's never gonna upload again. We bet you come back! Come back! overall, I'm not joking when I say this, the best episode so far. Like, generally, like, top one, honestly. It has great characters, great story, and there are more horror elements in it, which I appreciate, and, like, Pomni's, like, panic attack scenes are getting really better, which I appreciate this episode for doing. So, overall, the best episode so far on this list. Yeah. This is the weakest one. I wouldn't call it a bad episode. None of these episodes are bad, honestly. It's just this one is kind of weak, honestly. Okay, don't get me wrong. This isn't like a bad episode. I don't hate it at all. But like, I didn't really vibe with it too much, honestly. I do love the idea of like doing actual realistic things in life, like doing fast food stuff. I actually like that idea. Gangel's development was pretty cool, honestly. Like, Gangel's struggle to trying to be, like, a normal person is cool and relatable, honestly. Like, trying to be normal is kind of a problem that everybody has today. But honestly, the way they handle the theme of being normal is good. And honestly, this is one of the funniest jokes in the whole episode.
Oh no! It looks like I've taken Ragatha and dropped her in the deep fryer.
Generally, this is like the funniest joke I think I've ever seen from the series. It actually got me laughing out loud. I will admit, Kinger didn't really get enough screen time in this movie, honestly. Considering how important he was to episode 3, it was kind of sad for him to get sidelined, honestly. Animation's still pretty good, but honestly, I don't know. I just couldn't bring this one to myself. I honestly feel like this is honestly the weakest one, honestly. It's not like bad, but like, it's like the weakest one. Honestly, every single character is still likable. I didn't really have any problems with any character. Maybe Jax a little bit. But honestly, I don't know. I just couldn't bring it to myself. This is honestly the weakest episode so far. And I kind of didn't vibe with it. I don't know why. But I kind of didn't like it. So overall, the weakest one so far. Please don't kill me, honestly. Like, I like the idea of the message about being normal, honestly. It's a good message, honestly, but I feel like the execution could have been a little better. But that's just me, I guess. Overall, while not a bad episode entirely, there are still some moments to appreciate, like Gangel's development, the message about being normal, and the fast food stuff was pretty cool. But honestly, I don't know, the execution could have been a little better. But overall, while not a bad episode, it's the weakest one. Honestly, a whole lot more better than episode 4. I like this episode a lot. It was actually pretty cool. It was honestly one of the best episodes, like, of all time from the Amazing Jizzle Circus. Anyway, this movie is about Kane rocketing the cast through a chaotic series of construction adventures from the suggestion box, including a quit poacher storyline called President Pomni, which honestly was the best part. President Pomni was the best part of this whole episode, honestly. And we get to learn a lot about everybody. Like, we learned that Pomni was an accountant, Gangel was an art college dropout, and Zubul a tattoo artist before being trapped. It also explains that Ragatha's influent but strict, unhinged, and I like Jack's backstory of losing a friend to abstraction. We got to learn. Hey! Sorry, that was my dogs fighting. But we got to learn about everybody else, which I really appreciate about this episode. We learned about Jax losing a friend to an abstraction, which I love. I love every single like explanatory. I like that. I like that a lot. Surprisingly, this is not really a surprise. Kinger actually got more screen time in this episode. I don't know why I keep calling these episodes movies. That's an issue on my part. My bad. The animation again is so good. Glitch never messes up with their animation. It's surprising. And yeah, I got basically nothing else to say about this episode. It's a pretty good episode. It expands the characters more, and I love it for that. And honestly, this is just kind of the same episode as episode 3, but it's a lot better, honestly. I like it. So, honestly, overall, this episode is generally good. I like it. It's kind of on the same level as the 3rd episode, but honestly, it's a lot more better and probably one of the best episodes. Plot is that Kane Gibbs wants to play a game where you have to shoot people and you get 3 lives, and that's basically the plot. Honestly, this is the peak of the Amazing Jizzle Circus. Like, generally, this is like the best episode so far. I love how they fixed Jax from being this unlikable guy in the 1st episode to being this like reasonable guy who is kind of sarcastic, but we just like him from that. And when this episode released, everybody thought that Pomni and Jax were just like dating at this point, but until Gooseworks revealed something at the last episode that Jax was actually trans, so that just basically went out the window. No, but I love Jax and Pomni's whole relationship, making it feel like they were gonna date, but not. But I really like the relationship. It's probably the best part about this whole episode. And the whole game where they try to shoot each other and try to kill each other was generally the best part, honestly. I like the plot a lot. Honestly, I have not seen Gangle this happy, but the only time he's happy is when he's shooting the gun, like, holy sh**. Yeah, but honestly, this is like the best episode. I generally like it. I love the characters in this one. I love the plot. I love the game. It's really the most entertaining part. And honestly, I haven't talked about Bubbles because there's a good reason to. He's a very inappropriate character, and I don't want to talk about him, or YouTube is going to give me that yellow dollar sign. But overall, like, generally the best episode. I think it's like the top 3 best episodes, honestly. I like it very much, and you should go watch it for yourself. Anyway, the best episode. Moving on. Honestly, it kind of shaped up my expectations because I really liked this episode a lot, and it kind of surprised me. And Jax going insane was kind of shocked. Honestly, I'm kind of shocked because I didn't think he'd be going crazy. I thought he'd be the only normal one, and Pomni was just a crazy one. But no, he's actually going insane in this episode. So basically, the whole plot is that Kane is giving the guys a break, and he gives them a break for the beach. But then Pomni notices something strange. There's a door, and there's buttons, which means they can leave the circus. So they were planning to hit the red button, but Jax gets a panic attack and hits the blue button, and which means that Jax kind of screwed everybody over, and they gotta stay in the circus. And the red button meant that they would go back to the human world. So basically, Jax is just mad at Kane for basically tormenting him and just making him go insane, thinking the blue button was good. And no, it was not good. And the next episode, the guys try to hang out in the circus, trying to figure out what to do. So basically, that's basically it. Honestly, I like this episode a lot. It has a lot of potential. I liked it a lot, and I think it's a pretty good episode. I like the animation. The characters are likable. Jax is actually reasonable here. He honestly thought he was doing the good thing by hitting the blue button, but then realizes he was an idiot and should have hit the red button. But that's okay, all right? And the next couple episodes, Jax is kind of being unreasonable mean here, but we'll get onto that later. And I honestly like it because now we can put all the fun adventures aside for something really serious here. So overall, I liked it. And I'm sorry I didn't spend that much time on this episode. There's nothing really else to talk about. It's a generally good episode, but there's barely anything to talk about, so pretty good episode. This is a pretty solid episode. It's not bad. It's also not really the best episodes, but it's a generally perfect, solid episode in my opinion, honestly. Kingert and Pomni are great duos again, and, the plot twist that Kane actually got deleted from Kingert was generally sad, and they can't even leave anymore, so that's sad. For some reason, Jax is being not understandably angry anymore. He's actually mean this time for no reason at all. But that's when the last act explains why he's so mean all the time. But anyway, he's actually a terrible person in this episode. I can't even lie to you. That guy actually did have a point to be mad in the first episode. But honestly, it's a solid episode. I don't think it's the best episode, but it's generally a good episode. The glitches are incredible. The intro is generally perfect. And it's a pretty solid episode, I'm not gonna lie. I am genuinely sad that Kang did die in this episode, but don't worry, he comes back eventually. The soundtrack actually went so hard for some reason. I didn't need to go this hard, but it did. And lucky me, the next and final episode is actually about Jax, so this should be fun. Overall, this is a pretty solid episode. It's not gonna beat the top 3, but it's generally a good episode, and that says something. I love this. I amaze this. This is genuinely the best episode. Top 2 for sure. Oh my god. It is incredible. It's sad. It's funny. It's emotional, dude. I am honestly so sad this TV show has to end because I would like to see more episodes, but like I can understand at the same time, Gooseworks was getting a lot of controversy around this time for very stupid reasons. You want to know the reason? Because the last act actually got leaked online and everybody saw it. And she was like, I don't really care. It leaks, so I can't do anything about it. And kids, yes, kids and children, no adults was mad about this. Children were actually mad about this and like blaming her for like not doing anything about it. But like, what was she even supposed to do? It got leaked. I don't know why children are actually complaining about this. And if you are children complaining about this, what went through your mind when making this happen? You genuinely made the creator Gooseworks actually considering dropping down as the creator. Thank you so much, children. You actually did this. Right. I'm gonna keep my composure. This is the final episode, so I gotta hang it off with a big hurrah. The plot is that they're trapped. Kane is dead for now, and they're trying to figure out how to get out of here because it's just empty without Kane. And Jax is actually going insane, starts insulting everybody, and started acting like an asshole, honestly. But then Kinger gets an idea to go back into the code and try to find a way to bring Kane back. And while this is all happening, Jax is starting to glitch out, and he starts to get memories from how he got here. Apparently, he got in the car crash and ended up in the circus. He met these two guys called Ribbit and Cosmo. They were genuinely the best duo I think I ever seen. And this was honestly the emotional part for me because I genuinely like Ribbit in this one. She was pretty cool. But then something happened. Jax and Ribbit started arguing, and they kind of split apart from each other, and Ribbit and Cosmo got extracted. And that's made Jax the asshole who he was today. And honestly, I can't really blame him for being mean here. Like, seeing your best friends get extracted is genuinely sad, and I can't imagine living with that, man. So, later in the episode, Jack kind of realizes that he's been an asshole and should treat others right and treat people how they want to be treated. So Jax apologizes, but then he gets extracted. Rest in peace, Jax, by the way. He was generally the best character. And then Pomni and the other guys finally discover that this is where they're meant to be and accept the circus as their home. And Kane comes back and starts doing fun activities with them and starts to actually listen to them instead of doing whatever he wants to do and what they want to do. Which genuinely is a great lesson in this episode, and I genuinely like that. And that's basically the end of the episode, and the final episode of The Amazing Digital Circus. Honestly, a great way to send out a franchise and end it. Honestly, this is the best conclusion to a franchise I think I ever seen. I actually like this episode. It's really a good episode. I think it's one of the best, honestly. It's emotional. It has great lessons. And the ending was actually pretty good. Like they accept the circus as their home and go on adventures, which sadly we won't see on the other adventures, but that's okay. And Jax being extracted was generally the saddest part, and Pomni hugging the extracted monster was generally the saddest part. And Isn't She Lovely actually made an appearance in the episode, which I did not see that coming, but I didn't like it. Sure, it can be a little confusing at times. You don't even know what's happening. It's a little, like, you can't even see what's happening. It's, like, dark. And, like, honestly, I liked it. It's the best episode. And, honestly, it's a great way to send out a TV show and end it. So, overall, the best episode. The Amazing Digital Circus has changed Glitch as a company. They went from a studio who made indie shows that were good, but weren't really that popular. But when Gooseworks got an idea for the show and pitched it to Glitch, it became a popular and changed Glitch to being a kind of indie studio to the biggest indie studio of all time. And people thought that Glitch was going to beat Disney, which I kind of thought that as well. But no, they're just going to stick to an indie studio. And honestly, I'm kind of excited for Glitch's future. They have Gameoverse, and they're planning to make an episode 2 of that show. So honestly, I'm excited. Although the fandom for both of these TV shows, Gameoverse and The Amazing Digital Circus, are a little questionable. There are kids on that fandom, bro. I'm being dead ass. Even though kids should not even be on this TV show, it is clearly for older audience. This is definitely not for kids. So yeah. Honestly, I enjoyed The Amazing Digital Circus. It's probably one of my go-to TV shows for when I'm bored, and I just get bored all the time. So I honestly put this show on, and I have a good time watching it, honestly. Great characters, great comedy, great story, and great conclusion. So overall, The Amazing Digital Circus is a good show, and I recommend it to everybody. Alright, that does it for today's video. If you enjoyed this and you want more content like this for making me review older audience TV shows or older audience movies, leave a comment down below trying to give me more recommendations, and I'll see you next time on the next video. Thank you, and have a blessed day, and remember, God is on your side. Bye!